As a human race, we're about to pass a huge threshold, and by the time you watch this video, we may already cross the mark for 8 billion people on Earth. But trust me when I say this, not everyone is happy about this news.
That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Did you hear what he just said? Well, trust me, it gets scarier than that. The population growing at this rate is only going to reinforce a problem that we are already having. But where there is huge problem, there is great opportunity. And in this video, we're going to be talking about all the opportunity that you can benefit from the world growing at a fast rate. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? This is JC, and welcome to the Wealth Engineering channel. This is where I create thought provoking content that talks about anything related to business and investing. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about businesses all around the world and how they're contributing to one of the world's biggest problems and how you can benefit from this. A long time ago, the UN said, hey, they expected to reach the 8 billion mark on November 15, and we're actually about to cross this mark right here. You can go on the current world population counter and see where we are right now. And I'm sure by the time you're watching this, we already crossed the 8 billion people. You see, I came across this projection and I thought it was fascinating. There is so many things we can break down from this information. Let's get into it. First of all, you guys can see the world population is expected to grow year over year. And by the time we reach towards 2030, 2040, we can expect to see like 10 billions and more, right? However, guys, there is something interesting that I see that I find very scary looking at this graph right here. If you look at it, you can see the world population is expected, like this is the projections, right? So after that purple line is the projection. It's either that it's growing in a good case scenario that it keeps growing at a linear rate, or we can actually have a huge decline. Now, when you look at the different continent, you see that decline, it mostly comes from Asia, right? Now, Asia is one of the continent that has the most people because there is India, there is also China. That's probably already 2.5 billion of the world population right there. But hey, now you're seeing that curve on Asia, right? And that curve, I believe that curve comes from the single child policy that China adopt for full generation. About 30 years, they adopt this policy. There is overpopulation of men in this country and not enough female. And because of that, there won't be enough kids to have to continue that growth. It's still going to lead to a high growth of humans in the world, but it's interesting to see the decline. And it's just sad to see this because, hey, many people will be lonely and childless. However, if you're looking at Africa, Africa keeps growing, growing, and that curve is not necessarily on the downside. So the potential for growth for Africa is quite interesting and is projected to go more. But have you seen it yet? The scariest thing that I see in this graph is below the graph right here, guys. Look at North America, look at European continent. Like, this is crazy, guys. The level of growth that they project around this continent is scary because it's almost not seeing much growth, right? And not if you're not growing, you're dying. All right. So this is scary to say the least. But as investors, when you're trying to see this for the long term, where do you think it's better for to have a better chance of growth for your business, for your investments? Is it where the population is going to stay flat, the same, or is it where there's going to be more need, more people that's going to need your service, right? This is why I'm saying this is one of the scariest chart you can see. However, it also shows you great opportunity. This is a study from Morgan Stanley, and they were talking about the rise of the she economy. So definitely you can take a read. I'll leave a link below. Based on the Census Bureau historical data and Morgan Stanley forecast, 45% of prime working age women, basically from the age of 25 to 44, very important to keep that age in mind, guys. All right.
In the United States, we have the danger zone.
So 45% of prime working women will be single by 2030, their largest share in history, all right, up from 41% in 2018. So I find this chart scary. Is an exact reason why this line will stay so flat. Ask yourself a question, guys, and I love creating thought-provoking content, but I want you guys to ask yourself a question. If women that are 25 years old all the way to 45 years old are staying single, right? Are they going to have kids? No. If they're single, that means they have no man with them. And if there is no man, unless there is a technology that can inseminate at a very good price kids into someone, well, most women will be single and childless in the US. And this is a trend that is not only replicating in the US, but is the same in Canada, and it's also in same in European countries like Italy, for example, or Greece, or even France. They're starting to see something similar. So we might see it in England. In a lot of Western countries, this trend is going to happen. So, as we explore location for potential investments based on population growth alone, these countries are not ideal for what's going to happen. However, if you would invest somewhere in Asia, but mostly Africa, it's looking at a very appealing location why it's a good idea to invest. Going back to what Bill Gates was saying at the beginning of this video,
Now, 11 billion people, still a lot.
he was actually referring to this equation right here. He's saying that the more we have people and the more these people will need services and consume energy, the more CO2 we're going to provide. And one thing we can all admit on is there is something going on, because I live in Canada right now and it's November. And last week it was like 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know how is that in Fahrenheit. Probably 71, 72 Fahrenheit. This is unheard of. I've been in this country nearly 20 years and I've never seen this type of temperature in this time around the year. It's usually 0 degrees. It's usually snow outside. It just keeps going. We're starting to see pattern like this over and over again. We don't know if CO2 is the only reason why, but there is one thing for sure is there is definitely a climate change, and Canada is one of the countries that are being affected. Here is an interesting pattern Bill Gates noticed. The more a country has wealth and better access to health, the lower the child mortality becomes.
What we found out is that as health improves, families choose to have less children.
When this happens, the natural behavior for human beings, regardless of their religion or location, is to have less kids.
That the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down.
And Bill Gates does not want any overpopulation. So because of that, you're going to see a lot of people pushing for the development of Africa, and especially it is in the interest of China. So there is going to be a lot of developments in Africa. And right now you should be chopping your lips right now, looking at Africa, because there is a lot of opportunities opening its door to the Western world, and it could be yours at a very good price. Buy it at undervalued price and wait for the population to catch up and provide a lot of value in the future. Again, make sure you hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this video. And with that said, we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, yeah, it's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks and business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC.